Kira, an adventurous 18-year-old with a love for cycling, often found solace in her rides through the outskirts of Yeva, particularly in the quiet neighborhood of Tomsk. The recent wall constructed by the Ministry of Infrastructure and Transportation, however, had put a damper on her summer routine. The wall, part of the government's efforts to contain the emerging threat from within the city, had sealed off her usual routes to the countryside, leaving her confined to the city's boundaries. Undeterred by the restrictions, Kira had once sneaked through an unguarded passage in the wall, only to be caught by local law enforcement. The incident had resulted in a fine for her parents and a stern warning for her. Since then, Kira had limited her rides to the inner perimeter, where she could still feel a semblance of freedom, even if it was within the city's limits. On this particular day, as Kira biked alongside the imposing wall, her thoughts were a mix of boredom and longing for the open roads beyond. The city's atmosphere had been tense lately, with whispers of strange occurrences and heightened security measures. Yet, as a typical teenager, Kira tried to push those thoughts aside, focusing instead on the rhythm of her pedaling and the feeling of the wind in her hair. Suddenly, the wail of sirens shattered the calm. Alarms blared, echoing through the streets and sending a wave of unease through Kira. She slowed her bike, looking around in confusion. The city's emergency sirens were rarely used, and when they were, it was usually for drills or announcements of severe weather. This, however, felt different, urgent, and foreboding. Kira's heart raced as she saw people around her reacting with fear and confusion. Some were running towards their homes, others stood still, unsure of what to do. The air was thick with a sense of impending danger. Curious and concerned, Kira decided to head towards the source of the commotion, her adventurous spirit overpowering her instinct to seek safety. As she approached the city center, the scene grew more chaotic. She could see military vehicles and armed guards mobilizing, setting up barricades and checkpoints. Overhead, a loudspeaker blared an announcement, urging residents to stay indoors and report any suspicious activity. The message, however, was drowned out by the sirens and the rising murmur of panicked voices. As the alarm sirens continued to wail, Kira decided it was time to head home. Her ride back was quick, her mind racing with the snippets of conversation she had overheard. She felt a sense of dread building inside her, unsure of what exactly was happening but sensing that it was something monumental. When she arrived home, she found her parents glued to the television, their faces pale with horror. The news was filled with breaking updates about a catastrophic event. Nuclear missiles and bombs had been launched from Yeva, targeting the city of Obnadashivayushki Pioner. The city had been obliterated, and with it, the heads of ministry and countless innocent lives were lost. The screen showed images of destruction, smoke billowing into the sky, and emergency services scrambling amidst the chaos. Kira felt a chill run down her spine. The idea of such an attack was terrifying, and the fact that it had come from within their own city was almost impossible to comprehend. As the news continued, the screen suddenly flickered and buzzed with static before shifting to a live recording. The image that appeared sent a jolt of fear through Kira and her parents. On the screen was Barney, the same malevolent figure from Earth's past. He stood flanked by two other figures, BJ and Baby Bop, characters that Kira and her family were vaguely familiar with, but which had faded into obscurity over the centuries. Barney spoke directly to the camera, his voice filled with a mocking tone.
Hello, Silver 7. It's been a long time coming, but I'm back. I hope you enjoyed the little surprise I left for your leaders. Yes, that's right. They're all gone now, just like the good old days on Earth.
Barney laughed, a chilling sound that filled the room.
And don't worry, this is just the beginning. Silver 7 will fall, starting with Yeva. My friends and I have big plans for all of you.
Kira's parents exchanged a terrified glance before jumping to their feet. Her mother grabbed a few essential items while her father headed for the door.
Stay here, Kira. We'll be back for you,
her mother said, her voice shaking. They rushed out, the car starting up and quickly speeding away. Kira stood in shock, the reality of her situation sinking in. The sight of Barney's face on the screen, combined with her parents' panicked departure, left her feeling abandoned and alone. Deep down, she feared they weren't coming back. The live feed continued, showing scenes from around Yeva. The city's walls intended to protect were now shown with Barney's twisted congregation blocking all exits, trapping the residents inside.